Cannabis Common Sense, the show that tells the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition.
Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Cannabis Common Sense. We have a great show for you tonight. We have Shane Doull, a owner and operator of the U.S. Weed Channel on the internet, who's made some pretty astounding breakthroughs with Roku and a number of other video distributors. In fact, streaming this show at times there on the U.S. Weed Channel. So without further ado, though, let's first bring on our infamous dancing cannabis leaves.
I feel the force.
Okay, if you or a loved one need help finding a doctor who can help you with medical marijuana, we have a referral service for doctors all over the country. You can call us at 503-235-4606. That's 503-235-4606. Thanks. I would like to introduce Shane Doull of the U.S. Weed Channel here on Cannabis Common Sense. Shane and I have been partnering for a few months here, and he's run a few of our back episodes of Cannabis Common Sense on his Weed Channel. Welcome to the show, Shane.
Paul, thank you so much for having me on today. It's so nice to see you back in action, brother, and I'm just tickled to be here.
All right, well, we're glad to have you. Tell us about the U.S. Weed Channel.
Ready?
I'm ready.
It was funny. So everybody at home listening, we had a brief discussion before this, and Paul was saying, "Yeah, we've got a lot of time. Do you have any stuff, video filler that you might want us to play?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't think we'll need it." So, okay, guys, check it out. There is a lot of stuff going on with US Weed Channel, and I'll try not to run on so that Paul can ask some questions. But we'll start with saying US Weed Channel is the first and only federally certified, globally broadcast cannabis lifestyle TV network on Earth. It took a lot of work to get that done. We're also the only cannabis-related business that has first-to-market approvals to promote itself, monetize, and stream across everything. So we're on every single platform. When it comes to streaming and OTT, we're on every network. We just got approved by LG and Samsung. So that'll add a couple 100 million screens to what we're doing here. And I'll feed into that into a little bit. We'll talk about content creators. But yeah, so there's lots of opportunities inside of US Weed Channel, and that's sort of what we're here to talk about. We'll go through them all different parts, but it's literally the most exciting thing in cannabis right now.
Yeah, well, the cannabis industry, when I started, it wasn't an industry. It was a movement and a criminal enterprise. But now it's an industry. And so there's tough times out there for all the growers and dispensaries and consolidation. A lot of them are having problems dealing with the drop in prices. So there's a lot of angst in the cannabis industry right now. So, but you're bringing a bright spotlight to it.
Absolutely. And you know what? You're right. 100%, because, well, a couple different things, right? So people that are fighting for legalization and prosperity and things like that on a grassroots level, they have a tremendous amount of hope. They want this to happen. They want their plant, right? I want my plant. That's like the reason I started this whole thing. I don't want to be political or make anybody rich or anything. I just wanted to be able to smoke my weed, right? So there's that. And those people didn't have a marketing mechanism, right, to get the word out. They could try to get somebody to cover what they're saying and be spotlighted on some news program for the 15 seconds or something like that. but there was no media mechanism. And the same thing goes for cannabis business owners, right? You know as well as I do, for the last 15 years or greater, there's been trade shows. There's been a couple of entities that try to fake it, right? And give businesses wrong labels so that their ad can actually go out through different opportunities and DSPs and things like that. But again, they're hiding who they actually are just to try and get the mechanism out there. So that's one of the problems, or two of the problems that we solved, or the main problem, I guess is a great way to say it, is the marketing mechanism, right? There's nothing else out there that is creating the voice for cannabians around the world. There just isn't. You get shut down on social media, right? You don't meet the algorithms on YouTube or anywhere. And there's no osmosis because everybody's a single entity. So what we've created, it's just mind-boggling how cool it became. Yeah, and it just started from me being pissed off at the cops and the courts.
All right. How did you come to start the We channel? Tell us a little bit about your background.
So my background is, I'm a family man. I have two daughters. I was married for 18 years, and I was a commercial insurance broker. So, I was the guy who dotted the I's and crossed the T's for all of my companies, and I was sort of an idiot savant when it came to writing insurance for businesses. I had 200 plus appointments with different insurance carriers, and I was an independent broker that could literally write any type of insurance for your business, anything, and I was well versed at most of it. The insurance industry kind of came to this point where they knew that brokers were helping people too much, so they started to curb our ability to help people with HIPAA and do things like that would get in our way. And I didn't like that. I didn't like the not being able to help my clients the way that I used to. So I was already looking for a change. I had gone back to school to learn film, which is weird. I never thought I'd be running a TV network. I thought I was going to make a movie, sell it to 1 million people for $1 and have $1 million. Done deal. So I'd gone back to school and was learning production. And then divorce hit and all sorts of weird stuff happened. And when that was sort of cooling out, I was growing cannabis on my property in Fallbrook and selling it to the local dispensary. That person was starting to do drugs and take pills and do weird stuff. And that was the only place in Fallbrook to get rid of your cannabis. So I was like, this is going to disappear. Let's investigate what it takes to open a dispensary properly and legally. And with 20 years of insurance under my belt, with every kind of, document and paperwork that could possibly be given out, I've done it, right?
That's what insurance is about.
Amen, brother. And just getting licensed for insurance has its whole process and everything. So, anywho. So
I once had a license to sell insurance in North Carolina for about a year. I did it for about a year back in like 1981, long time ago.
Did you work for a carrier, a specific carrier?
Yeah, it was. Well, let's not go into it. Let's talk about your thing. You had 200 carriers. I bought insurance from insurance brokers before for our cannabis clinics. Yeah.
So that was my job. Like literally, I would go up to places and I'd be like, yeah, them stairs, that thing hanging there, and then I'd talk about health insurance and, hey, by the way, do you guys have buy-sell insurance? What about disability buy-sell insurance? You're more likely to get disabled than die. So, not to be a promoter of insurance, but it is sort of a necessary evil, people out there. Anywho, when you need it, it's good to have. So, So anywho, I connected with a gentleman who was the former prosecuting district attorney in San Diego County, and to form the paperwork and do it all correctly. And then I went to the state and got the, voluntary medical marijuana card and all this great stuff. There was no other form you could get to do what we were doing as a medical marijuana dispensary. There wasn't. There was laws that were written. There was things that you could do to follow the law. And I thought, cool, you know what? As long as I follow the law, then the cops will leave me alone. And so that was my first lesson, that cops follow the law.
What year was
They
that?
They don't. That was 2010.
Oh,
Yeah.
we had Luke Scarmazzo here who did about 15 years for that. And I know several San Diego County dispensary owners have spent a long time in federal prison.
Yeah. So, so what happened was, I had all this paperwork, and I'd gotten arrested, despite having all the paperwork and all that stuff. So again, first lesson was that I thought the cops followed the law as long as I did, and people, you'll find out, unfortunately. Can you hear the sirens? They hear me talking about them. Anyways, unfortunately, that's not always the case. I'm sure there are good, cops out there. I haven't run into them. So then all of a sudden, I find myself, losing my house, losing my business, losing my friends, because now I'm toxic. So 40 years of life, and now all of a sudden you're this yuck, you're trash to everything, right? And your life is thrown into junk. So recovered a little bit from that, and it was about, I don't know, somewhere in 6-9 months into the process of going to court. So everybody, what happens at home is now you're arrested and you go to court. And if you don't,
let me just clarify. You were arrested for operating your dispensary, is that correct?
Yeah.
Your licensed dispensary.
Say that again?
Well, it was a licensed dispensary.
100%. And you can still look it up.
Was this in federal court?
No, it was state court.
Oh, okay. Well, thank goodness for that. But
yeah, 100%. And it was after the time where they had just made the law that said you can't just change a state, thing into a federal thing just to do so, right? Just to make it. And so I kind of lucked out that way, because they would have done that to me big time. Yeah, you can actually see it. Everyone at home, if you go to Facebook and look up Granddaddy Phoenix, the page, you can see it was actually America's first mobile pot store. So I had a minivan back then, and we went and bought a display case from a surf shop down in Carlsbad or whatever. And when you open the side door of the van, the lights would pop on, and there was jars to that you could sniff from, and there was lights and a camera and the whole thing. It was freaking awesome. I mean, I had grown men dancing up and down in the street. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. So, anywho, got arrested despite having all the right paperwork and having less than the amount that you're allowed to travel with. Because, yeah, we won't get into the whole negative part of it, but that's what happened. So, about 9 months into it, this was a weird day of clarity in court. By the way, like I was saying, everyone at home, once you're arrested and they decide to press charges, what they're going to do first is they're going to wait 9 months to however long they want to. And you have to show up every month in court. And if you're late or you don't show up, then you're an actual real criminal, because you didn't show up to court and you're a felon and you get a warrant. It's really what they want. So it's just a big giant game, and it's awful. It's literally the most awful thing that a human can go through, is to have your entirety of your community, your people, and your state turn against you and tell you that you are a criminal when you followed the law in every way, shape, or form. It is mentally distressing on an entire nother level. And I'm not just saying this is actually proven. There's lots of white paper out there that says when you're subject to lawfare, which is a brand new term, which is perfect. And I was subject to lawfare big time. It is upsetting to that person on an extreme level. And I've been through it a couple times, unfortunately. So anyways, about 9 months into this, I had overcome some homelessness and was back on my feet a little bit, and had a weird day of clarity in court. And I was standing for some reason. I don't remember why I was standing, but I was standing next to my attorney, who was sitting at the desk. And I looked over my shoulder, and everybody in that courtroom was there with cannabis charges. The courtroom was effectively packed. There was 75 couples or people or whatever, and all of them were people that you would see at your daughter's softball game or have over for a barbecue. None of them were bad people. They were all good people endeavoring into this new, wonderful, opportunity called cannabis. And for some reason, despite following the law, they were all in court, and the courts had a 1,000% batting average. So everybody there was not waiting to see if they could win, but how hard they would lose. And that's it. And I thought, well, this ain't the America I grew up in. And that, it was weird, Paul. It was weird, man. Like my cape unfurled. And I went from feeling like totally helpless to 1,000 billion% pissed. And I leaned down to my attorney, who was a public defender, and I said, hey, change of plans. We're going to fight this. And he looked up at me with a side glance, and he said, you know, the fuck we are. And I said, yeah, no, this has got to change, and we're doing this. Oh, man, he and I even fought. He pulled this thing where he called a Marsden trial, where he tried to pretend that I called the Marsden trial. For those of you at home, if you don't like your public defender, you can call a Marsden trial, where another judge will listen to you and your public defender piss and moan about each other. And then that judge will be a dick to you, right? And expect you to know law and do all sorts of stuff, because that's what they do. And he'll be very abrupt with you, and you'll have to stand your ground. And I did. And so finally he said to me, Mr. Doull, you know, do you want to get rid of this attorney or not? And I looked at him and I said, for the 5th time, no, make him do his work. I didn't ask for this trial. Because you got to do that with judges, because they're dicks. They think they own the world. They're used to sending people to jail. They're used to ruining people's lives on a daily basis. You don't think that's a power trip and a half? Now, if you don't stand your ground in court and put them back in their place and know what's going on, they will run all over you. Literally, they will interrupt you. They will try to make it so you can't get your information out to people. They will make it so that you look stupid asking for information. Don't bother with all that. Okay? Ask away. Make sure that you bug them as much as they're bugging you, right? And oh God, I can't even get into it because I just get so gnarled out. I'd rather be happy. So now here we are in court, and we decide to fight it, and it still takes about another 2 years because the district attorney, they don't know what they're going to charge me with. They're like, yeah, it was the first ever, mobile van, and it looks like it should be arrestable, but the dude's following the law. So, but we have 1,000% batting average, so we must win, right? They're just so crazed over this. It's weird to see human beings so crazed on winning these things, right? Like, and ruining your life and making you into a criminal. It's insane. So, yeah. So there's all of that. And longer story shorter, we went to court in July of 2013, and after a 7-day trial, the jury took about 45 minutes, and they read my unanimous not guilty verdict at 4:20 in the afternoon.
All right.
Yeah, so that was bitching. So I became the first person in America to get unanimous not guilties for running a pot store. First person proven legal pot store, right? Oh my gosh. And the judge cheated like 3 or 4, probably 5 times during the trial. I kid you not, you guys. These guys are so hell-bent on making sure they're right and you're a criminal. They will remove your rights regularly, standardly. Like, it doesn't matter. Dude, honestly, amendments, they mean nothing to judges. They will rip them from you like it's nothing at all. So and here's the thing, people, I want to tell everybody at home, this is a very important thing. If you're going to be a leader in anything that you do, if you're going to cheat at anything, there's 2 rules, right? Make sure it's big money and make sure you're going to win, period. That's it. Judges don't even care. They're that freaking lame and limp, okay? This guy cheated 5 times because he was so absolutely assured with their 1,000% batting average and all their people telling him that Shane was a criminal, right? Then I got to go to the stand and I was like, yeah, and I got to tell everything, and everyone was like, seems like everyone's full of shit except for Shane. And then all of a sudden they came back and voted me as the first American to get unanimous not guilties. So yeah, it was quite the trip. During the process, a friend of mine, and I'll say her name last, Genevieve. Thank you, Genevieve. I was upset, and I was like, well, first of all, Genevieve was a friend of mine that I met when I was going to a film internship. so we were like in film, right? And I was telling her what was going on. I'm like, yeah, judges are allowing an illegal trial. District attorneys are happy to participate in it. The cops lied they said one thing to make the trial happen. Then they were saying another thing during the trial, and then blah, blah, blah. Oh my gosh. And I said, man, if I could just find a place, I would be like a preacher on a pulpit and just sit up there in that chair and piss and moan all day long about, how everybody's lying. And she says, well, I heard of this thing called Roku, and I think anybody can make a channel on there. That's where it started. That is where it started. So in November of, I guess it would have been more like December of 2011, I had written away to Roku, and I had filmed a first pilot of 420 Honeys. Just kind of was in the role. And I wrote away to Roku, and I said, look, I want to have the first ever public access cannabis TV network. And here's the shows that I want to create, and let's get it on. And they're like, no. no, you won't be doing that on our thing. No, thank you. And I was so deflated. It was a bummer, right? And I was angry and blah, blah, blah. So I took some time, and believe me, everybody, whenever you want to do something, use the Mark Twain method. Write out all the piss and moan that you want to do and put it somewhere where it can't be printed or sent to anybody. And then burn it and tear it up. Just make sure it goes away and is completely gone, because you never want to say those words right when you're feeling them. You want to take a little bit of time and be a little bit more political about things and use your brain if you want to get things done. So I waited, and then I wrote back to Roku, and this was, I'm sure if they don't have this saved somewhere, I'm going to be upset. But I was like, hey guys, I understand you have a knee-jerk reaction. It's cannabis, I get it. I said, but currently I can see, and it started real easy. It was like, I can see people smoking weed, drug dealing, heroin use, overdose, beheading, witchcraft, disembowelment. And I mean, it just went on and on, right? And then I ended it with, and a few things the Bible doesn't even know how to list on other channels that are on Roku right now. Please reconsider. Here's the shows we want to make. There's no TNA. And if we cuss, it's probably because we're laughing too much. That's all I could say. Like, what else am I going to do? So it like 4 weeks went by, and I was like, yeah, it's over. The dream is over, right? And all of a sudden I get this email from them, and it says, okay, yeah, you're the guy that gets to open the first public access cannabis TV network in history. And that was like in February of 2012, the end of February. And then one of the girls that was a 420 honey in the first pilot episode sent her boyfriend back to my backyard to steal my plants. The cops came. They caught them at 3 a.m. because my neighbor called, said, yeah, someone's stealing Shane's plants. And the cops came. They told my neighbor, we let them have those plants because they had doctor recommendations. And she goes, but those are Shane's plants. And they said, well, we'll keep an eye on Shane. I didn't get a card. I didn't get a call. I didn't get nothing. I just woke up the next day and my plants were gone, right? They were seriously ready to harvest. They were so beautiful. It was great. Anyways, couple of days went by, and one of the other neighbors across the street was like, hey, Shane, I heard the other neighbor talking this, that, and the other. And so I went up to the neighbor next door, who coincidentally, great little story, when I was making my garden, she called the cops on me. I showed them my Dr. Rec and everything, and they were like, okay, you're cool. And fast forward, we're like 4 months in advance. Now she loves me because I help her take out her garbage, and I'm a great neighbor and the whole thing, right? So now she's calling the cops on my behalf, because people are stealing my plants. So anyways, I go up there, to speak with her and see what she saw. And I have no idea that the cops came yet. So,
Wow.
oh, this is incredible. So I'm like, can you tell me what they look like? Because it's almost always like an inside job or somebody that that knows what's going on. And she got dog face, and she goes, well, what do you mean? The cops were here. And then I got dog face. I was like, what do you mean the cops were here? And she's like, yeah, we called the cops 911 because we saw people stealing your plants at 3 a.m. The cops came, they caught them, they let them go because they said they had a doctor wreck, and they said they would keep an eye on you. And then they left. So I said, thanks. And I went back and I called the Riverside sheriff and I said, yeah, I would like to speak to the officer that came to my house and colluded with criminals to allow them to steal my private property. And then they threatened me a bunch of times on the phone. And so then I wrote away to the newspapers in Temecula area. One of them wrote back to me with a link to Internal Affairs. And he said, start your paper trail now. So I did. And I had Internal Affairs come over. Oh my God, it's the most beautiful story ever, Paul. So first the sheriffs come to investigate me, right? And take a picture of my recommendation and all this stuff. And I know what they're doing. They're basically planning on covering their ass and arresting me as a criminal to say Shane was a criminal before I can show the world that they were criminals. And so I have the Internal Affairs guy over at my house, and I have it on hidden camera. And Officer Green is his name. Can you make this up? So he asked me, all right, Shane, is the reason that I'm here because the officer was curt on the call with you? And me being very versed in court now, 2.5, almost 3 years into the whole court thing and laws and all that. And I'm like, well, no, officer, is your thing recording? And he says, yeah, okay. The officer, the word you want to use is threatening. So the adjective is threatening. Your officer threatened me 4 times on the one phone call if I, quote unquote, opened this can of worms. He said, okay, well, why am I here? And I said, well, your officers have already come here to take a picture of my recommendation, which expires in about 2 days. They're going to come and arrest me on that day thinking that I'm a stoner and I haven't renewed my recommendation. It's guaranteed it's going to happen. So you're here, hopefully to avoid a false arrest, because your officers are simply trying to cover up their own crime of allowing somebody to steal private property under their watch. They've colluded with criminals, and that's the end of the story. So he knew he was bummed and caught on tape. It was done. That was the truth. That was what happened. His face dropped, obviously. And the next day, Officer Green went on a 3-week vacation, because you know how all officers take 3-week vacations. And as I prophesied on 4/20/2012, the marijuana SWAT unit, literally people, 14 people, bulletproof vests, machine guns, fucking Howie Long haircuts. Oh my God, it was awesome. Bulletproof vests. They came over the back fence. They came through the front. I'm sitting there on Facebook sharing pictures of my beautiful plants because the harvest that got stolen, now I'm ready to pick the next harvest, right? Well, I didn't get to do that harvest either, Paul. Because the SWAT team came, and well, since they came, they pretty much had to arrest me. They had to because they wasted their time. So they lied to the DA and said, yeah, Shane's a dealer. And then the marijuana SWAT team came to my house, kicked holes in the wall, telling me that I was stealing electricity. And I wasn't having it. I knew they were coming. And so, brief thing about me, I have a vast history of martial arts. And so for about 3 weeks before they got there, I was training extra, extra hard. And I was literally a 6'2" brick shit house by the time they got there. And I was not having their shit. And I was ready to take a few going out with me. And they knew it. They could tell. Oh my God. And they avoided me like the plague. So instead of getting lippy, they asked me to sit down on the couch, and then they found this bag, right? And after kicking in the walls and accusing me of stealing electricity and me telling them to fuck off, and telling them I'm not a thief and you guys are the fucking thieves and I can't believe you're here, you pieces of shit, and that type of stuff. They found a gym bag. They're like, we got a bag. This is their moment of glory, right? You got a bag. So they bring it down to the living room and they set it on the table. They're like, Mr. Doull, would you like to open this bag for us? And I'm like, sure. Think you got something good? We'd like you to open the bag, Mr. Doull. So I unzip the bag, which reveals 4 or 2 pair of very, very well-used boxing gloves. A pair of shin guards that are practically demolished. 2 nut guards, and a couple of other things that say, I'm not a beginner. Mm-hmm. And, I look up at them and I say, did you find what you were looking for, gentlemen? And they're like, that's not what we were looking for, nor what we wanted to see. So now they kept going around the house and they did all this stupid shit and took pictures of everything and stole all my plans. And so they arrested me and took me to jail. When they were leaving, I said, first they stood me up and they're like, well, okay, turn around and we're going to put these cuffs on you. And I pulled my hands. I'm like, bullshit. The fuck are you arresting me for? You haven't said a thing. Like, we'll tell you at the station. I go, once again, bullshit. You can't make it up as you go along. What are we doing here? Get fucking real, guys. See, I can get pissy sometimes when I start to think about this. It really brings me back. And
I can understand and relate.
And yeah, and so they all look at the sergeant, right? And he has to think for a couple of minutes. And he's like, cultivation. And he starts walking out the door. And I'm like, cultivation's legal, asshole. They don't care. Cops don't follow the law when they want to arrest you. Cannabis people are a second-class citizen in America. That's what I'm here fighting for, Paul.
Me too.
Yeah. And so this story gets so beautiful really quickly. I'm just going to finish this part of it because it's so awesome. So I'm in jail and I'm like, cool, I'll just wait it out a couple of days and go see the judge and be like, yeah, your officers lied to the DA. Let's get this handled and thrown out. I'm there for about 5 hours. I'm like, no, you know what? Screw this. I got money in the bank. I'm going to bail out and figure shit out. I don't want to spend my weekend in jail. Because, of course, it's like a Friday or whatever. So I bail out and I get home. They arrest me at 11 a.m. and I get home and it's 11 p.m. that night on 4/20/2012. My house is pitch black and I go to the kitchen to turn on the light. And I'm sure everyone at home can relate. You know how there's one of those sockets or whatever outlets that has like 2 plugs and the switch for the kitchen or whatever? So I go to feel that and there's something plugged in right there. I'm like, what? And I turn on the light. Okay. Everybody at home, get ready for this. This is movie perfect. It's the camera that they use to take pictures of all the evidence. So the police apparently their camera ran out of juice while they were there. They plugged it in the kitchen and left it.
Well, that is beautiful.
No, it's great. So needless to say, I formatted all the pictures on the camera and I did look in there and I saw that they had pictures of 2 other homes, which were both occupied by couples, which once again seemed like very normal, good people that were just growing weed. And they were probably trying to endeavor into this great, cannabis industry. And they got foiled by officers. And so all those pictures disappeared. So when I did finally get a chance to talk to the DA, I got a no charge letter for all of that. And I got whatever they took back, that type of thing. But at the same time, we also got to delete and make sure that 2 other families were saved in the process. So that was kind of cool. Then, since my nephew was getting married and I spent my money on bail, I shined up the camera real nice, found a nice box for it, and gave it to my nephew for his wedding present.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, I got a ton of stories like this, but now we should talk about like the forward part, because you guys at home, I have a bunch of crazy stories that will come out, and we'll talk about that when I write the book or when we do the interviews or things like that. But yeah, it's been nutsy cuckoo. And but now after 10 years of trying and 10 years of pushing and being told no by literally everything, and me saying, I think your no means not right now, but yes, we're going to do it later. So now we have US Weed Channel, and I wish I could have uploaded my background, but I couldn't figure out how to do it because it would have our weed leaf logo in there. And the logo for US Weed Channel and the words US Weed Channel, those are America's first openly cannabis, publicly issued intellectual properties. So yeah, I got a lot of firsts, Paul. Like, I'm the first guy in America to get unanimous not guilties, first guy to open a mobile pot store that was legal and all this other stuff. First guy to start a TV network. First cannabis intellectual properties issued to a public entity from the government. That took some fight. Now fast forward, I've already negotiated with obviously Roku and all this great stuff. And now we're on every single platform. I've even negotiated with Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube. We're the world's first cannabis related, Google approved cannabis related publisher. So we've literally smoked every barrier to cannabis media that there is, period. And now, inadvertently, we have solved problems for everybody in cannabis. It is so freaking cool. Oh my gosh. So I just wanted legal cannabis media, right? Quick briefs. I'll keep this kind of brief as I can, but I was 8.5 years into this, people, and I was ready to quit. I couldn't get any support from my industry. I couldn't get money to be made in this process. I couldn't even get people to make content for the channel. Oh my gosh. It was like trying to pull my own teeth with kite string. So I was literally ready to quit. And that month I got this letter from the USPTO, United States Patent and Trademark Office. And it said, hey, you've had this long enough. Now your intellectual property is registered, right? It's not claimed, it's registered. So it's real now.
So it's trademark.
Yeah, the trademarks. Yeah, ours is a service mark because we provide a service, but same level of legal protection. So I turn around to Roku and I say, look, here are 3 pieces of intellectual property. They say that we're either a digital, advertiser or a broadcast and streaming entity. These are the ultimate attorney opinion letters to say we are not a weed dealer. Can we just monetize and be a regular TV network? And it was so effing cool, Paul. They were like, welcome to the club, son. It was great. So, all of a sudden I could monetize on Roku, and I was like, uh-oh, what do I do now? Like, now I'm a little jazzed. So before I could even turn around and do anything with that and like get my head on straight, 3 weeks goes by and Roku sends me an invitation. No kidding. So think of this. I had just solved legal cannabis media across America. That was my goal. That I was done. Like I had met my goal, right? Now I'm 3 weeks into that goal and I get an invitation direct from Roku that says, hey, Shane, do you want to be one of the first 100 or so channels that goes global on Roku? It's like a beta thing. And I'm like, hell yeah. So, so I did it. I did the work, changed the language on our stuff and put it out there. And we got approved in all 5, geographic areas. So yeah. So now all of a sudden, 3 weeks later, I have literally legal cannabis media around the globe. I did it, dude. Like I did it. It was insane. I didn't know what to do with myself. I mean, literally, I had nobody on the team. It was just me. And it was like, I couldn't even tell somebody like, yeah, look what we did. It was just me looking in the mirror going, look what you did. So, so then I started going to, then it got like good to me, right? And I started going to everybody and I'm like, hey, Fire TV, hey, Apple, hey, Amazon, and hey, everybody, literally everybody. And I started showing the stuff and we got approved on everything, every platform, period. And, then I went buck wild and I'm like, okay, Meta, Instagram, all these places, right? Look at, this is us. We just want to be a regular TV network and promote our content. And then it was payment providers, approved, right? Then it was different publishing entities. Then it was different ad servers. And literally now we're approved on everything. This is the bitchinest story ever in cannabis. So now that I've solved all that, the last thing to happen, people, is we've solved the problem. Actually, for influencers in cannabis, I know your plight. Demonetized, deplatformed, and depressed. I know the plight, right? Guess what? We solved the problem. We made it so that you can actually create your own money using our platform, and you go borderless. You can monetize. It's crazy. You do all this stuff. We've already got dozens of influencers signing up because it's that bitchin'. Content creators, you suffer the same problem. Yours is a little different. You got level 1 of your content where you made it with all heart and a little bit of money. It should be able to go somewhere and make some money or gather a following, right? Then you can make your next level of content, which has more money behind it. So the production value is better, more marketing, whatever is behind it, right? You can't get past level 1. We burnt that barrier, content creators in cannabis, because you can monetize your content with US Weed Channel. We have every kind of partnership. We can hybrid like YouTube, run ads like YouTube, put things under subscription, pay-per-view with a tip jar, pay-per-view behind a paywall, whatever. It's done now. Okay. So that is solved. Content creators in cannabis. Music artists, same thing. We have USWC Rocks Radio, which is our other part of our global platform. Now you can do like MTV used to do and do global premieres. You can pay for spins. You can do all sorts of crazy stuff. And literally, instead of being part of this massive, YouTube thing where there's 28 million channels and all this other stuff, how about being like one of 40 influencers on US Weed Channel, or 100 influencers or 100 shows, right? Even at that point, you would be a spectacular exclusivity. So we solved all those problems. And now that that's happening, the very last thing that I've been working on, and this is so insane, Paul. This is like, let me ask you this before we do this, and then I'll just blurt it out. But how many, in the past 10 years, how many heroes have come out of the American business sector?
Oh, I don't know. Heroes? I can't think of any right off the top of my head.
Damn straight, bro. But guess what? Not to toot my own horn, but I have changed the laws in America. I have dozens of activism firsts, and I've created the voice for cannabis, literally for everybody in cannabis. All you got to do is join us at US Weed Channel and join the movement. Now, all of a sudden, instead of being like a singularity trying to stand out on Instagram or YouTube or whatever, which is our whole industry, right? Everyone's a singularity trying to stand out. Join US Weed Channel and join the osmosis effect, because every day of the week, we'll have 20 influencers, 20 show guests, 20 show hosts, our own advertising, nonprofits pointing to us, advertisers that are pointing to their shows that they've made on US Weed Channel every day of the week. That is an osmosis storm that you want to be a part of, because if you're not, you're going to be out there alone again, standing alone like, oh yeah, look at me, I'm so great, I swear. Deplatformed, depressed, and demonetized. It's not good. We've solved the problem. Whether, and we do receive some resistance. People are like, look at Shane, I've been in this desert for 40 years and you are not monetizing content. You do not. I'm like, listen, dude. The world changes, right? Change. The only thing that we can actually count on in this world is change.
Yeah.
That's it. Well, guess what, people? It has changed now. We have our TV network. So everybody, whether you're a viewer, I don't care where you are in the cannabis sector, there is a place for you on the canvas of US Weed Channel.
Let me ask you.
So many things.
So
yeah.
Who all's on the channel now? And how, say I'm got Fire TV or Apple TV, how do people find you?
Yep. So this is what I want you guys to do, because, and it's all for marketing and to bring more money to the channel. Everybody start by downloading the app. You can go to usweedchannel.com, click on apps, and the links are right there. They're in both Play Store and the App Store. They're very visible and easy to find. Please, please, please download the apps. Give us 5 stars. There's a reason behind that. I've been talking to some very, very large and sponsors, and they're like, yeah, as soon as you get your App Store stuff going and we see that people are downloading and loving your app, we'll work with you. And this is a mega company, you guys, mega. So what happens is when that company wants to work with us, all the small brands that helped right now to build cannabis, they will be subject, if you will, to the benefit of mega money and mega advertising opportunities and mega marketing pushes that go to US Weed Channel. So I behoove everyone, it is literally in your best interest to be a part of US Weed Channel now. Get your ads showing on a show. They last forever. By the way, that's something that we also did for all the brands in cannabis, right? I just talked with the guy. He's the top sales guy or the director of sales for cannabis, hemp, and CBD brands at X. And his name's Charlie. And we had a nice conversation. And I said, so Charlie, after a while, I said, so Charlie, let me just get this straight. You're working with brands that shouldn't be on your platform to try and get them to spend more money promoting a product that shouldn't be on your platform. Is that right? And he's like, yeah. So I said, look, I'll solve your problem right now, dude. And he goes, okay, explain that. I said, you simply have the brands make a pit stop at US Weed Channel. Sponsor a show, any show, a podcast, a major show, something in between. It doesn't matter. And then they can spend untold millions promoting a show through our approved pages if they would like. And he just leaned down. He was like, oh, F yeah. Like, I mean, dude, he saw it clear as day. So that is the answer, people. It's not me making it up. There's white paper galore. You can read all about it, how when brands attach themselves with niche TV networks, there is massive success waiting on the other side. I'll give you super quick examples, right? Okay, Pepsi plus Michael Jackson plus MTV, done, right? Things like that. Coca-Cola, Cartoon Network, done, right? They sponsor tons of different shows there. Their commercials were all over the place, done. Massive market moves, massive growth. When CNN came out, it was Gulf Oil and I'll think of it in a second. But again, both of those brands made massive gains because they aligned themselves with a new TV network. And then, of course, the huge one that I don't know if people know about or not, and do you know this, Paul? When ESPN started, they were a year or so into it. They got an exclusivity with Budweiser. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, it's a badass story. So effectively, they were growing, right? And Budweiser saw the opportunity, and they said, "Look, we'll pay you like $1 million or whatever it was, a couple million, if we are the only beer that shows up in your entire channel for the next like 2 or 3 years or something like that." I think it was 2 years. Obviously, that was the best thing that Budweiser could have ever done, and the best thing ESPN could have ever done, because they used that money, to become ESPN, and now they're a $50 billion, network. And Budweiser literally became way more anchored in American society, period. Just like, dude, Bud, right? So these are clear opportunities. We're not making them up. They're not fake. It's not like, it hasn't been done before. US Weed Channel is what's next. There was the last big thing was MTV, right?
That was a long time ago.
Right. It's 40 years ago. So we're due, everybody. And that's fine. So now the smart brands, and I will say this, we have the federal R, the little R next to our logo, the federal registration as a TV network. That made US Weed Channel the one and only safe place for mainstream brands, the Coca-Colas, the Chryslers, the Ubers, the mainstream brands of the world, to now safely and legally and smartly, by the way, meet the cannabis culture around the world for the first time. So if y'all at home don't think I'm actually talking to some of those larger brands, that's where you'd be mistaken, because some of them do see this light, and it won't be very long. So, whatever soda company is first, right? I don't necessarily care, because it's going to make my network blow up, and it's going to help me do what I want to do, which is create the voice for cannabis people around the world. That's it. We're creating safety, prosperity, everything. That's what happens when we have a voice. I didn't have a voice when we were going through court. It's kind of why I started this. that all happens, right? That's why I did this. But it ended up becoming a tremendous opportunity for every brand in or out of cannabis. So, like I said, the brands that participate with us now, we're only getting bigger, right? So in cannabis, this is your first opportunity for sort of forever branding. You can be part of shows. We have our new Pioneer ad. You guys got to get in touch with us. If you have any
So
sense.
how do people get in touch with you outside? So they can download the app, but
Yep.
is there email?
You bet. 100%. So everyone can,
We're
can
down
call us.
to, we've got about 7 or 8 minutes left here.
Okay,
So,
I'll be quick. So you can call us at 424-777-USWC, 424-777-USWC. That's 8792. If you have one of those phones without that. You can go to usweedchannel.com, click on advertiser registration, click on submit your podcast, submit your content, submit your music, wherever you are in the ecosystem. It's all there waiting for you. It is not difficult to be a part of US Weed Channel.
all right. And how many shows you have up there right now? I just downloaded the app while we were talking here, and I can see a number of things there. I'll give you a good rating too.
Yeah, thank you.
I see I'm up there with Cannabis Common Sense.
Yeah, dude, your show's great. It's actually getting thousands of views, so people like it. That's why I'm excited that we're making new ones, because people dig you.
All right. Well, I got a couple new ones in the pipeline, and I just got busy with other things. We would have recorded last week, but I was stuck in Houston because my plane was late. But they put me up in a hotel.
Okay.
Yeah, at least there was that. But I went to the Texas Hemp Stock Festival, which is kind of a cool thing outside of Austin. Yeah, and there are a lot of hemp builders there. But
can't wait to get out of this bubble and get a little less administrative and get a little more out with the people. That's what's next too.
So our show, Cannabis Common Sense, is doing pretty well there.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, you've got a lot of pioneers on your show.
Yeah, there are, and like you, and more.
Yeah, 100%.
So, what other good shows do you have out there?
You know what? We have a lot of shows. So I produced the Daily Dose, which is my little podcast. We have your show. We just brought on Shagwellin or Shaggy, and he's this fun little dude in San Diego in the cannabis industry or realm. Every day he goes somewhere. It might be a museum, it might be a coffee shop, it might be a dispensary, and he goes live on US Weed Channel. We have about a dozen producers that have everything available to produce right now. So if you're wondering, oh, how do I sponsor US Weed Channel, this, that, and the other? Literally, we have game shows, concerts, talk shows, cooking shows, comedy shows, all with producers ready to go. So we'll be hitting, the upfronts and things like that with those opportunities that don't sell. But you get in touch with us, literally just 424-777-8792. Talk to either Sam Vernon, who is director of sales, or you can talk to Polina Trusova, who's also, she's international sales. So if you're outside of America, you can talk to them. You guys just don't not talk to them, right? Because if you're a chief marketing officer somewhere and you're like, yeah, we could actually be first forever in our market, right? So that means that you don't have to think about what you're going to do for marketing in April for the next 20 years. You just replay the commercial and say, remember when we helped pioneer cannabis media? And the love returns. So there's that opportunity as well.
Well, I've downloaded the app on my phone. Can you download it on like those like Fire Stick with Amazon or any of the other platforms out there, and it'll just be another option of the various channels?
So funny story, we were approved on Fire TV for months, right? And then I got a grant from Amazon and could never use it because you just couldn't build it. And I'm still pissed at you, Amazon, because we tried 40 different ways to try and make something work, and you guys just would not help. So anyways, I was like, no, you guys aren't helping over here. So then all of a sudden our app got unapproved on Fire TV. So we say literally every week when we film the Daily Dose, we're available on everything except Fire TV because they're lame.
Okay.
So yeah, literally every single thing else we are available on. And so, if you need a reason to not like Amazon, they don't want to help me create a voice for people in cannabis.
Uh-huh.
Period.
So we're almost out of time, Shane. Let me ask you, is there anything we missed talking? We didn't talk about your reverse merger much.
Oh yeah.
You
Oh
know,
my
I had
God.
a terrible experience with a reverse merger. I know you just read the independent articles that were out there.
I did. That was awful. I'm so sorry that you went through that, Paul. My gosh.
Me too.
Oh man, that is insane. So, but yes, what happened was I was, I went back to school and to the, Earth's largest accelerator and talked to the co-founder and got to be their first cannabis related business. Went through that, got certified to raise capital. Um, Big story there. Longer story shorter, this year, I was researching and networking with some people that had a shell ready to go, and they wanted a lot of money for it. And I said, I can appreciate that you want a lot of money for that, but I'm US Weed Channel. Here's all the propensity that we have. Here's my plan of what I'd like to do, which is much more than a TV network. It's much more than a TV network. It's ruling our world and in many different ways. So, long story short, they were like, "Yeah, let's do this." So we're in the throes right now of me having to not pay millions of dollars, and we're going to put my preface. I just had our intellectual properties valued, and they came out at several millions of dollars, which was great for me because it was, final proof that what I was doing was great. And it helped me merge with them because now we're both kind of equal in value. And I said, look, let's just do half and half, right? And I'm going to be the president because you guys don't know what I'm doing, right? You guys can be chairman emeritus and watch over capital raising and all that stuff, but I'm the guy that's going to be doing the TV network acquisitions and productions, and that's it. And there will be no vote of no confidence. There won't be any of that bullshit. I will be it. And when you guys step away for whatever reason, I assume that role. So yeah, I'm pretty good.
All right. All right. Well, I wish you the best, Shane. We're about out of time here. I want to thank you for coming on. We'll be talking more in the near future. I get down to that area when I go visit my mom, so I'll try to make time to stop in and see you as well.
I saw your post in Newport, so yeah, do better next time. We'll definitely go to lunch.
All right. Sounds good. I can see the ocean behind you, so that's kind of cool.
Yes, that's a filler picture, but sure.
Oh, okay. It looks like the ocean. Right. All right. We've had Shane Doull with US Weed Channel. I want to thank you and keep working too. Restore hemp. Good night.
Yes. Everybody, if you're in hemp, if you're in CBD, if you're in cannabis, US Weed Channel is how we beat the system. Without a marketing mechanism, we can't get the word out, right? This is the unfettered, unlimited period. We beat the system. There are no algorithms. You can't get filtered out on US Weed Channel. You can only get seen.
Well, I don't want to filter you out, but our time slot on our original cable access system here in Portland is coming up, so I got to cut you off. I want to thank you and keep working. You're welcome.
Love you, brother. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.